If you don't decide what to do with your life, don't worry. Someone else already has a plan for you. Life doesn't reward those who simply drift along. It rewards those who design it with purpose. Too many people wake up each day with no clear direction, hoping things will somehow work out. They let circumstances, other people's demands, and passing emotions dictate their path. But drifting never leads to fulfillment. It only leads to wherever the current of life decides to carry you, and currents rarely take you anywhere worth going. When you design your life intentionally, you become the architect of your future instead of a passenger in someone else's plan. Design means asking, what do I truly want? What kind of life do I want to live? What values do I want to build on? Most people never stop to ask these questions. They settle into routines, follow the crowd, and accept whatever comes their way. But the truth is, without intentional design, life defaults to mediocrity. Think of building a house. If you don't create a blueprint, you don't end up with a home. You end up with a mess of scattered materials, none of which form a livable structure. Life works the same way. Without a plan, your time, energy, and resources scatter in every direction. You may work hard, but without design, that effort builds nothing lasting. Intentional design doesn't mean you'll control everything. Life has uncertainties. But it does mean you're prepared. When storms come, you don't lose your way because you have a map. When opportunities arrive, you know whether they fit your vision or not. The designed life creates clarity, and clarity creates power. Contrast that with drifting. A drifter reacts to whatever shows up. If someone else has a plan, they get pulled into it. If circumstances shift, they're tossed around. A drifter doesn't live life, they endure it. And the saddest part is, they often wake up years later realizing they never truly lived the life they wanted, only the one that happened to them. The reward of design is fulfillment. When you design your life, even small steps feel meaningful because they align with your vision. You don't waste energy on distractions because you know where you're headed. And over time, those intentional choices compound, creating a life that feels rich, purposeful, and truly yours. Life doesn't reward the drifter. It rewards the designer, and the sooner you take hold of that truth, the sooner your future stops being an accident and starts becoming a masterpiece. One of the greatest traps in life is living according to what other people expect of you instead of what you were truly meant to become. From the moment you're born, society, family, friends, and even the culture you live in begin whispering, or sometimes shouting, what your life should look like. Go to school, get a job, buy a house, settle down, retire at 65. Follow the path that's already laid out and don't step outside the lines. And while there's nothing wrong with stability or responsibility, the problem begins when you trade your own unique vision for a life designed by someone else. Living by other people's expectations creates a quiet kind of slavery. You may look free, you can walk, talk, and make choices, but deep down your decisions are guided by fear. Fear of disappointing others, fear of judgment, fear of being different. And so you conform, you wear the clothes they expect, you choose the career they prefer, you marry at the time they think is appropriate, and you live in the way that earns their approval. But here's the harsh truth, their expectations will never lead you to fulfillment. Why? Because no one else can see the dreams planted inside you. They weren't given your vision. They weren't given your specific talents, your passions, or your calling. That's why when you try to live by their design, it feels like wearing shoes that don't fit. You can walk in them, but after a while they hurt, they slow you down, and eventually they wear you out. The danger of living by others' expectations is not just dissatisfaction, it's regret. Years can pass, and you'll realize you climbed the ladder, but it was leaning against the wrong wall. You may earn applause from others, but applause can't fill the emptiness of a life unlived. Approval fades quickly, but regret lasts forever. Breaking free from this trap requires courage. Courage to ask, what do I want? What do I value? What kind of life do I want to design? That courage may cost you. Some people won't understand. Some may criticize or even walk away. But you must remember, you're not here to live someone else's story. You're here to live your own. Life is too short to sacrifice your calling for someone else's comfort. If you want to design a life of purpose and meaning, you must stop living under the weight of expectations and start living under the light of your own vision. When people think of designing their life, they often imagine huge, dramatic changes, a new career, moving to another city, starting a business, or completely reinventing themselves. And while those big shifts can happen, the truth is that your life is shaped far more by the small, daily choices you make than by the rare, dramatic decisions. The blueprint of your future isn't written in bold strokes once or twice a decade. It's carved into place by the repeated habits you practice every single day. Think about it. Choosing to spend 1 hour reading instead of watching mindless entertainment may not seem significant today, but compounded over months and years, it separates you from the average person who invests nothing in their growth. Choosing to save a small portion of your income instead of spending it all doesn't change your life overnight, but it sets the foundation for financial freedom. Choosing to exercise for 20 minutes each day may not show results in a week, but given enough time, it creates health, energy, and vitality that no sudden decision can replace. The danger is that most people underestimate the power of these daily decisions. Because they're small, they seem unimportant. Missing one workout doesn't feel like failure. Spending a little extra money doesn't feel like financial ruin. Skipping one book doesn't feel like ignorance. But over time, these choices compound. Small neglects repeated daily create weakness, while small disciplines repeated daily create strength. The future is simply the harvest of what you plant today, and every small choice is a seed. The drift of life happens when you stop paying attention to these choices. You let the day slip by without intention. You think, I'll start tomorrow, but tomorrow becomes next week, and next week becomes next year. And slowly, without realizing it, you've designed nothing. You've simply drifted. Then, one day, you wake up to find yourself in a life you didn't choose, wondering how you got there. The answer is always the same: small daily choices left unattended. But here's the good news: if small neglects can destroy, small disciplines can transform. You don't need to overhaul your life in one moment. You need to start with one intentional choice today, then repeat it tomorrow and the next day until the compounding effect works in your favor. Over time, the design becomes visible. What once seemed like small efforts create massive results. Your life is being built right now, brick by brick, decision by decision. The question is, are those choices leading you toward the life you want, or the life you're trying to escape? Remember, the blueprint of your future is not written someday. It's written today in the quiet power of your daily choices. Life has a way of filling itself. If you don't create your own plan, someone else will be more than happy to hand you theirs. And here's the uncomfortable truth: their plan rarely has your best interest at heart. Most of the time, their plan benefits them. If you don't know where you're going, you'll spend your energy building someone else's dream while yours collects dust. Think about the workplace. If you don't plan your career, the company has a plan for you. Work hard, meet their goals, give your time, and when you've given the best years of your life, maybe they'll give you a plaque and a retirement party. That's their plan. Or consider society at large. If you don't decide how to spend your money, advertisers, marketers, and endless distractions will decide for you. If you don't decide how to spend your time, the world of entertainment and noise will consume it for you. If you don't decide what to believe, the loudest voices around you will shape your world. Without a plan, you're not neutral. You're vulnerable. You become easy to sway, easy to use, and easy to control. You may think you're going with the flow, but in reality, you're going with someone else's flow. And here's the tragedy: most people spend their whole lives like this. They never sit down to design, to plan, to ask, what do I really want? Where do I want to end up? Instead, they take whatever path is handed to them. Having a plan doesn't mean you control every detail of the journey. Life will always throw surprises at you. But having a plan means you have direction. It's like sailing a ship. Without a map, you drift wherever the wind blows. With a map, even if storms come, you can adjust your sails and still reach your destination. Designing your own plan requires effort. It requires clarity, reflection, and discipline. That's why most people don't do it. It's easier to live on autopilot and let others decide, but the cost of that ease is your freedom. The moment you stop designing your life, you start working inside someone else's design. And in their design, your role is never the star. It's usually just a piece to make their vision come true. You were not created to be a background character in someone else's story, but if you don't create your own script, that's exactly where you'll end up. The truth is simple. Either you run your life with a plan, or someone else will run it for you. Designing your life isn't just about dreaming, it's about bridging the gap between vision and execution. Too many people stop at the vision stage. They have dreams, they have goals, they have ideas of a better future. They talk about it, they think about it, they even write it down sometimes, but without action, vision remains imagination. A vision without action is like a blueprint without builders. It looks inspiring on paper, but it never becomes a house you can live in. When you design your life, the first step is clarity of vision. You must know what you want, where you're headed, and why it matters. Vision creates direction, and without it, action becomes scattered. But clarity alone is not enough. Action is what gives weight to vision. Every step you take, every decision you make, every habit you form, these are the bricks and mortar of your life design. The mistake many people make is assuming that once they set a vision, results should come quickly. But design doesn't work that way. Just like building a house, it takes time. Foundations must be laid, structures must be built, adjustments must be made. That's why aligning vision with consistent, disciplined action is so powerful. It transforms desire into reality, little by little, day by day. Action also creates feedback. You may begin with a certain vision, but as you take steps forward, you learn, you adapt, you refine. This is not failure, it's growth. Your vision sharpens as your actions teach you what works and what doesn't. But if you never act, you never learn. You stay stuck in the dream, endlessly waiting for the perfect moment that never arrives. And here's another truth. Alignment between vision and action creates integrity. Integrity is when your life matches what you say you value. If your vision is freedom, but your actions lead to debt, there is no alignment. If your vision is health, but your actions embrace neglect, there is no alignment. If your vision is meaningful relationships, but your actions prioritize everything else, there is no alignment. Fulfillment comes when vision and action move together, hand in hand, creating a life you can be proud of. The designed life isn't a fantasy, it's a construction project, and like any great structure, it's not built overnight. It's built through the relentless alignment of vision with action until what once lived only in your imagination becomes the reality you wake up to each day. Life will always offer you two choices, drift or design. To drift is easy. You follow the crowd, you bend to expectations, you react instead of act, and you live by chance instead of choice. But that road always leads to regret. To design, on the other hand, requires effort. It requires you to ask the hard questions, to take responsibility, to align your vision with your daily actions. But that road leads to freedom, fulfillment, and a life you can truly call your own. Remember, no one else will design your life for you. If you don't, someone else will gladly hand you their plan, and in their plan, your dreams are not the priority. The only way to live a life of meaning is to choose it, to shape it, and to commit to it. You must decide what matters most to you, and then build every day in alignment with that vision. The truth is simple. Your life is your masterpiece. Whether it ends up unfinished, average, or extraordinary depends on whether you choose to be the architect or remain a passive passenger. And the decision, every single day, is in your hands.